So, the PlayStation 5 is finally here. A week ago, I did an unboxing and test video talking about my first thoughts on the Xbox Series X. If you want to check that out, I'll link it up on a card over here, as well as in the description if you want to go and check out my video on the Xbox Series X. But today, we're going to be taking a look at the PlayStation 5, which just launched in the UK. Obviously, this video is a bit more geared towards just sort of being my thoughts on the console, as it's already been out for a week everywhere else in the world, so that's kind of annoying. But I thought I'd do this video just to unbox the PlayStation 5 and let you know what I think about it now that it's here in my hands. Not here, it's here in my hands. This box is really fucking big. But before all that, this video is brought to you by the Ridge wallet. Is your old wallet falling apart, unnecessarily big, old? Well, Ridge has got you covered. It holds up to 12 cards with a clip for cash on the back, and there's over 30 colors. You got your carbon fiber, you've got your burnt titanium, you've got your forged carbon, anything you want. Personally, I went with the matte black because I like the sleek and simple look. It's incredibly durable, and each wallet comes with a lifetime warranty, so effectively you could use the same wallet for the rest of your life. And they also provide a service that allows you to test drive for 45 days, so if you aren't happy, you can send it back for a full refund, so it can't even hurt to give one a go. There's a reason they have over 30,000 5-star reviews though. And on top of that, don't forget the RFID blocking technology, which protects against digital pickpocketing, which is a huge benefit. If you're interested, head to my link in the description, ridge.com/lasers, and use code lasers for 10% off at the checkout. That's ridge.com/lasers and using code lasers for 10% off. So here it is, boys. This is quite a bit bigger than the Xbox Series Xbox. As you can see, it's a large boy, a large big box, and I know you're probably getting a lot of anxiety because I'm handling it like a madman and I might drop it and break it, so we're just going to put this down gently before that happens. Presentation wise, I don't think this box is kind of as good as the Series X. They kind of made it look all nice and fancy. When you open it up, you got a little sign saying "You're next gen" and stuff. This is kind of just a big white box inside of a sleeve, which, if I'm going to make criticisms, I guess it's going to be that, because in every other area, I'm sure the PS5 is going to be better. Don't hate me, Xbox. It's okay. So the first thing we get when it comes to the PS5 is, of course, the power cable and HDMI cable, as well as the stand for the console, which both works to have it go upright and also on its side as well. So it's cool. And then obviously you've got the charger cable, the connector cable for the controller to get into the PlayStation 5. And obviously we get the controller, but we're gonna go for the console first, then we'll have a look at the controller. I feel like that's the best way of doing it, because that's the way I did it for the Xbox, so we're doing it that way again. Here we have it, boys. The PlayStation 5. It do be looking pretty thick. That is fucking huge. Like, legit, that is huge. What the hell? That is actually so much bigger than I expected it to be. What the fuck? It looks fucking beautiful though. Wow. Ignore all the shit, the background. It's the box. This, whatever. It's cool. We're here for this. We're here for this thing. This thing is ginormous, but I love it. Something about it being this big fucking like monolith is kind of fucking cool. I'm a big fan. Obviously, I got the physical version so we can put discs in the disc drive, because I have so many PS4 games that I'm going to want to play on this that it just would have been stupid to get the digital one. But damn, this is so cool. Genuinely, this is so cool. Like, this feels like true next gen. Whereas the Xbox felt like an upgrade from the Xbox One X. This feels like an entirely different machine, and that is kind of really fucking cool. Obviously, the front design, you've got the flaps. We're not gonna call them the flaps. Got the side panels here in white with the black going directly down the middle. You've also got a USB port on the front of the console, as well as a USB-C port, obviously the eject and the power. And then on the back, we've got two USB ports, a Ethernet port, a HDMI, and then the power port. Comparing it to the PlayStation 4 Pro, the size is insanely different, and the design as well. It's really not even comparable, but it's cool to see them next to each other and see how this thing is kind of a fucking monster in comparison, which I'm not even complaining about. Now it's time to check out the controller, and wow, this thing is beautiful. Oh my god. I remember first seeing the design of the controller and thinking it looked ugly as hell, but having it in your hands, wow, like how that fits in your hands, how it feels, I'm a big fan. It feels PlayStation, but it feels so new, and this is part of the fun of having a new console. And this is something that I missed with the Xbox Series X, is the controller for the Series X and the Xbox One X is practically the same thing, so it didn't feel like this big leap, whereas having this controller like that feels like this is a new console, this is new tech, this is new hardware, this is next gen. That's what it's meant to feel like, that sort of exciting feeling. And I get what Xbox are going for. Like I said in my video, it's this feeling of familiarity, it's accessibility to everyone, whereas this feels like a proper leap to something new. And wow, it feels good, it looks great, and yeah, I am a big fan. As well as it looking great on the back as well, it's textured, but obviously if you zoom in very, very close, you can see that it's the different PlayStation symbols, being the triangle, circle, square, and X on the back, and that's a nice little detail. It's also making the controller feel nice as well, and obviously we'll test out some of the features a little bit later on in the video when we're actually looking at the console and the UI itself to see exactly how this feels and what my opinion is on it. Comparing it to the PlayStation 4 Pro controller, it's relatively similar in size, although the PS5 controller is definitely bigger, although it might just be because of the shape, not necessarily because it's bigger. But honestly, it looks like a lot better, it looks a lot newer. Obviously, it is newer, but you know what I mean. Like, it feels like a significant upgrade, especially when you go back to then holding this controller. It feels like when the DualShock 4 came out and you play with the DualShock 4 and then you go back to holding the DualShock 3, it feels old and flimsy and, like, cheap. Whereas when you then hold the PlayStation 5, it feels all new, solid, like, really good in your hands. Like, that feels good. That feels good to hold. And then going back to holding the DualShock 4, it feels old, like it feels flimsy, it doesn't feel the same, it's not got that same sort of weight to it that the PS5 controller has, and I think that's what you want from a new controller. With the Xbox, the Series X controller felt good, it feels fine, it feels better, but going back to holding the Xbox One controller doesn't really feel bad, it just feels, you know, very similar, if that makes sense. So I really do like this controller, it feels great, and that's, yeah, big fan. Alright, so I put the stand on the bottom because obviously I want this to stand upright. It took me a bit to actually figure it out because you've got to like take a cap off the bottom, which was honestly kind of difficult, and then screw the thing on and everything. Obviously it's a, you know, a better way of doing it than the way that Xbox does it, but that being said, it did take me a little bit to do. That might just be because I'm dumb though, so take that with a grain of salt. Right, and with that sorted, let's go ahead and get this bad boy turned on, install some games, and test it out, see what the controller feels like, see how quickly they load and how well they run. Let's give it a go. Alright, so getting into the PlayStation 5, I was able to set it up again on my phone like I was with the Xbox Series X, just by scanning a QR code. I can't actually show you any of the setup process because the PlayStation 5, like the PlayStation 4, comes pre-installed with HDCP, which actually stops you from capturing anything through like an Elgato capture card, which is what I use. In order to be able to capture it, I've got to get into the settings to turn it off, which means I have to set up the system itself, so I can't actually show you any of that. But I did go in, check out some of the system settings and things. The UI is very similar to PlayStation 4, but it just looks very new, very different, and I'm a big fan of the UI. It doesn't come with themes like on the PS4, however, I know the PS4 launched without that facility, and they did end up adding it in later, so potentially we could see that. It was easy to go in and install whatever games I wanted to install, and obviously the next-gen legendary Bugsnax had to be on my console day one. What did come as a surprise was testing out Astro's Playroom, not just in how it showcases the controller's features, but also how much fun it just is as a game. The fact that this comes pre-installed with every single PS5 and is just a all-round great platformer, very well put together game is actually really, really cool. I platinumed it over on my live streaming channel with my girlfriend the weekend. It was really good fun. We went through all of the different trophies. It shows off all of the different features, whether that is the haptic feedback or the adaptive triggers, which honestly blew me away. I was already expecting something, but the way that the vibrations vibrate around the controller exactly where you'd expect them to be, also the fact that it almost feels like a different texture when you're walking on different platforms. It's so hard to explain, but when you're walking on glass, it feels different from walking on grass, and you can feel that in the controller. It's very difficult to explain how it does it, but it does it all with vibrations. The adaptive triggers as well is insane. The way that it feels when you push down on those triggers and you have to click past this pressure point to be able to activate a thruster, or when there's some pushback from activating something else, it feels so good how it really immerses you in the action that you're taking, and it's absolutely brilliant to do. I also then tested out Spider-Man PS4 Remastered on the PS5. I tried it in both the 60 FPS mode, the performance mode, and the fidelity mode, which allows for ray tracing and Both are great. I mean, it looks even better than the original when you're playing in that 60 FPS mode, but where it really shines is in the fidelity mode. Having that ray tracing, the lighting, it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's some of the best stuff I've ever seen in video games. Probably the best I've ever seen up until this point, obviously, because it's all I've tried, but being able to see that ray tracing, the lighting, the shadows, the reflections, it's incredible. Obviously, being able to play in 60 FPS, having that option there is great as well, so it adds that diversity for people that prefer frame rate over that sort of enhanced visual look. But both are great, both run fantastically, and it's actually very, very impressive as a remaster. I also then tried out just loading into Red Dead Redemption 2, a game that is infamous for its insane load times, and honestly, I was pleasantly surprised. There's been no patch, as far as I'm aware, for next-gen consoles with Red Dead Redemption 2, but the load time is much quicker than what I remember, and it feels great to just go through that loading screen, and you're not sitting there for like 5 minutes or however long it used to take. It's actually pretty nice. And thank you guys very much for joining me for unboxing and showing off the PlayStation 5. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Did you get a PlayStation 5? Did you get an Xbox Series X? And if you haven't checked out my video on the Series X, go and check it out. Like I said, it will be linked. You can go check it out if you want. But yeah, I'm going to be doing some streaming very soon of Spider-Man, and also I'm going to be doing a series on Demon's Souls. So that's going to be a ton of fun to go through and play it as well, because I've never played a Souls game before. I mean, I watched my brother play Dark Souls 1, but I've never actually played a Souls game myself. I just kind of let him do all of it because I was like, no, you can hold the controller. That's pretty much what we did. We never even finished it. The whole series is on Horsey and Fox if you want to go check it out. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and I will see you very, very soon for something new. See you later, boys. Bye-bye.